Hey everyone! Did you know that this year, 2020, is the centennial of the 19th Amendment? That means it's been 100 years this year since women got the right to vote. Voting is so important because that's how people like me and you help make laws. Laws are rules that people have to follow, and they protect other people and the environment. But not all laws help people. Did you know that there was a law that made it so that women and Black people couldn't read, write, or go to school? And they weren't allowed to vote, so they couldn't even change the laws that were hurting them. Now we all have the right to vote, thanks to suffragettes and suffragists.
Everyone is special, and we all deserve to be safe, have the same opportunities, and to choose how we live our lives. Rights are laws that make sure people can have and do those things. But not everyone had rights. In fact, some people are still fighting to have all their rights, even today.
Suffragettes and suffragists are people who worked to make it so that women and people of color could vote, and they still continue to make that possible. The work they do is called women's suffrage and Black suffrage. To honor them, I will be reading Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass, Two Friends by Dean Robbins. We'll see how these two changed the United States by being smart. Pay attention to the different ways that reading, writing, and literacy helped Susan and Frederick gain their ideas and share their ideas with the world.
Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass, Two Friends by Dean Robbins. Illustrated by Sean Qualls and Selena Alco. Snow fell in Rochester, New York. A horse pulled a creaky buggy down Madison Street. Susan B. Anthony set out 2 saucers, 2 cups, and 2 slices of cake. Frederick Douglass arrived for tea. Susan lit 2 candles on the table. The friends sat by the fireplace in Susan's parlor. Frederick wore a gentleman's jacket, vest, and tie. Susan wore a kind of pants called bloomers. She liked them better than the heavy dresses women were supposed to wear. Those dresses made it hard to get things done, and Susan had many things to do. As a girl, Susan wanted to learn what boys learned, but teachers wouldn't let her. Girls didn't need to know about important subjects, people said. They should grow up to raise children, and that's all. Susan's mother couldn't vote, or own a house, or go to college. Few women could. Susan wanted something more. She read about rights in the United States. The right to live free, the right to vote. Some people had rights, while others had none. Why shouldn't she have them too? Susan taught herself to give speeches. Some people liked her ideas about rights for women. Others didn't. The candles glowed in the parlor. Frederick sipped his tea. Susan asked him about his newspaper. He filled it with his own ideas about rights. "Everyone is talking about my new issue," he said. Frederick grew up as a slave in the South. Slaves had to do everything the master said, but Frederick wanted something more. He secretly learned to read and write. New ideas thrilled him. Frederick read about rights in the United States. The right to live free, the right to vote. Some people had rights, while others had none. Why shouldn't he have them too? Frederick escaped from his master and headed north. He taught himself to give speeches. Other people liked his ideas about rights for African Americans. Others didn't. Susan liked Frederick's ideas, and he liked hers. He moved to Rochester and got in touch with her. They promised to help each other, so one day, all people could have rights. The fire crackled. Snow fell outside the window. Frederick and Susan ate their cake and talked about their plans. So many speeches to give, so many articles to write, so many minds to change. They would get right to work as soon as they finished their tea.
Did you notice the different ways that being able to read and write helped Susan and Frederick change the world? Why do you think that they helped each other, even though they were different and technically fighting different laws? Now it's your turn. Imagine that you have a country and you get to set up laws. Of course, laws that people could vote on. What would your laws be? Would they help people? Who would they help? I'll tell you one thing. I would definitely have a law that everyone could read and go to school. What are yours? Bye.